All right, let's welcome back to Straight Fire, one of the great soccer voices in America, Eric Wynalda, a legendary scoring machine for the U.S. national team. I remember watching him in World Cups in the was it 1990? Italy? Is that the one, Eric?
Yeah, that didn't go so well. I got a red card in that deal. 94 was a little better. Yeah, let's
Well, you were
stick with
still on
that.
the team twice. Come on. Yeah.
Well,
94 was better.
I got
Yes.
three. I got three, but the trip to France wasn't so great. They even made a movie about it. Forget Paris. We're trying to forget about it.
All right, so let's fast forward. First of all, USA Paraguay. People are calling it the best half of soccer U.S. soccer's ever played. I was floored by it. I thought it was an incredible performance, but I don't know. You have a trained eye. Let's hear your thoughts on it.
Well, I mean, all of the speculation that this team was possibly, going to come out of the gate sputtering a little bit, or maybe not, be hitting on all cylinders, if you will, and all the, the talk about Christian Pulisic hasn't scored for his club.
Mm-hmm.
On my podcast, I think I stayed true to that. I was like, look, relax. He's going to be fine. Once the games start, when he gets back to America, he'll probably get back into scoring ways. He looked really good. I mean, really good. I mean, he looked like Neymar good in that first half. So
Wow.
there it was, man. If you watch it, I mean, he had 3 nutmegs in the first 10 mints. Already got his guy on a yellow and could have his way with them. And, I think the only reason why he came out of the game was because it was precautionary. You're up 3-0, no need to risk anything. And we saw in the second half how much we miss him as far as his ability to just be the lightning rod and take people on and make things happen. But, man, the first half was fantastic. Every position not just held their own, but was terrific. The only one who had a subpar performance might be Serginho Dest. But outside
Really?
of that, yeah, he's got there's a couple of plays to the trained eye. You're like, come on, man. Like, really? But
Okay.
I think that I don't foresee any changes to the lineup. Just maybe a change of the plan, because Australia looked really good against Turkey, and we got to make sure we're ready for them. But all in all, man, I was thrilled. It is the best first half that we've ever had collectively as a team. I mean, the only thing that might come close is the U.S. beat
Was it South
Argentina in
Korea?
a Copa
Oh,
America, but that's not. That was
no,
two
that's
nil
not.
against
Yeah.
Argentina. That wasn't 3, and then Reina tapping it off was absolutely fantastic.
One of the crazier stats I saw, Eric. So the U.S. was dominant offensively, and technically Christian Pulisic did not have one shot on goal.
Right.
Does that surprise you? Because he's
No,
supposed to be the guy.
No, man, they were overloading his side. They were actually doubling up. I think it's really a credit to him to recognize that in the run of play, because if they're going to be marking him the way that they were, somebody's open, and then he became the assist guy. The first goal you could really attribute to his play to get in behind. Balogun's first goal was absolutely fantastic from Christian's standpoint. So I'm not worried about him getting the shots off. I would be worried if he wasn't connecting or he wasn't getting behind defenses. But I thought he looked spectacular. I think Balogun is amazing,
He's
and
terrific.
he really is terrific. And the second goal is so far into the world class level that we're thrilled to have that guy. I'm just happy his parents couldn't get on the plane. Right? I mean,
Yes.
she was pregnant, right? She got stuck in New York. He's born here, so he's American. Yeah, God bless him. I love it.
It's funny because just like 3, 4 months ago in March, the U.S. got smoked by Belgium 5-2. Played a good first half and they got embarrassed second half. And then they got blanked by Portugal. And it was like, oh, boys, but Pochettino even going to make it to the World Cup? And I just wondered, in your experiences, are the coaches tinkering a lot in the friendlies and the World Cup run up and then totally changing their game plan, seeing what had worked and what didn't and combining stuff? Because
Almost,
they look
almost.
totally different, even than the 2-1 result against Paraguay from back in November.
Right. You got to understand when you're going through that process. Pochettino was really thinning the herd. That's all that was. No pun intended. I know that's the show over there, but that's what we needed to do. We needed to figure out who could play and who couldn't. I mean, think about this. Balogun was here. He only played one half, and then he got on a plane and went home. And everybody said, "Oh, what does that mean?" That means he's made the team, and the other guys that got to stay and play essentially played themselves off the team, and that's what was happening. And it wasn't. I think Pochettino's done a terrific job of piecing this group together. But the other part of it, which people really need to be more cognizant of, is when you're going through that process and you're playing against teams that you ultimately are going to play in a World Cup, you don't want to show your hand. You don't. You want to keep your cards close to your chest. You see little pieces, right? And then you say, all right, that'll work. Let's stop doing that. We can do that. So let's try something else. So all that tinkering that, you got to watch my podcast, man. I'm so proud of myself because I'm the only one that said, I'm not worried. This is going to be fine. My prediction for the first game was 3-1. Thank you
Wow.
for
Okay.
Gio to get it right and take it to the next level. We didn't count on that own goal. That was a
Right,
great
right,
start,
right.
but got that one right. But I still think that this is a group that Pochettino, he has known what he was up to the whole time, and it's really smart of him to not show everybody what we're about. It's kind of an advantage for
Mm.
them to be still trying to figure out, okay, what was that? Because that looked a little different.
So is it like an NFL team in the preseason just trotting out, hey, we're going to run this basic vanilla shit, and then come NFL season,
Yep.
oh, we're coming with the good plays, if you will.
He's trying to figure out, I think, throughout those warm up games is all right. If somebody goes down, how do I fix it?
Mm.
Who can play together? Who can't? And it became a juggling act. It was just certain guys going in and out. And then a lot of frustration from the fan base because they'd watch the game and they'd say, why did he do that? Why did he change it? It was working. And it's like he's trying to figure out plan B and plan C. And we've already had to kind of utilize plan B in the Paraguay game, which was brilliant. So, um, look, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of moving pieces. The puzzle looks pretty good to me. And I think if as long as they can stay healthy and stay out of harm's way as far as suspensions go, we're in a good spot.
Yeah. All right. So let's spin it forward to the Australia matchup. You already noted Australia. I mean, listen, they were largely outplayed according to some of the advanced stats, the XG,
Yeah.
but they get the win, and that's really all that matters. Uh, Eric, honestly, I was watching them trying to hold down the fort with basically 8 guys in the box. It felt like for like 20 minutes. I Are they going to try that same strategy, or do you think they adjust?
I think they adjust. I think they are in a unique spot. They are not they weren't expected to win that game. They already have 3 points in the bag. They might come into our game with a very conservative approach, but they still have some weapons up top. They have some speed options that really cause some problems for Turkey. Because what happened is Turkey was trying to break him down, realized that there was a lot of yellow shirts in the way. At
Mm-hmm.
one point, man, I took a snapshot of it. They had all 10 field players in their own 18-yard box, and it wasn't a set piece. So they had really built a wall in front of that goal and said, all right, somehow you're going to try and figure out you have to go around us because we got 6'5", 6'4" in the middle. So crosses aren't going to work. And they just never changed their plan. So Turkey thought that they were more talented. They thought that they could just eventually do a 1-2 in a phone booth and it would all work out. Shananolu's comments, their captain, before the game were
Oh
not
boy.
helpful to say that we're far more talented than these guys. That's just not smart because and he doubled down too. He said, I still think we're more talented. You lost the game.
You
But
lost
those
badly.
those possession numbers were pretty telling because the truth is they were able to collectively defend, but in the moments that they went forward, they instead of just having one guy up top and then just hoping that it worked out, it was a little bit more advanced than that. It was a great recognition from their midfield to win. So when they would break with three, not one, not
Mhm.
two, but three, and that's why they were able to ultimately break him down. Great goal by a 20-year-old kid who just ran past
Yeah.
everybody. And then the second one was just a great strike from about 25 yards out. They're going to play that way against us, maybe even a little bit more conservative. We need to, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but the way you break that down is you have to have deep runs that come in behind the defense, have to be well timed, very similar to the play we saw yesterday with Cucurella for Spain on a pass from Rodri. Head it back in front of the box, get those 6'5"ers running towards their own goal. They get a little nervous. I'm not saying we're going to get another own goal, but we could. But
Hmm.
that's the only way to break them down when they're going to do that. They're a very cohesive unit. They stick together. They're always checking shoulders. You got to go over them wide. You can't go down the middle. You can't break that down. They're just too good.
I was seeing something that I think Weston McKennie had the most runs of anyone on the U.S. That was like kind of an unanticipated move by Pochettino. Who do you think are some of the primary runners that we would be going with?
Well, I mean, the way that we play, if we're going to go with Jedi Robinson, who will be in an advanced position, and Serginho Dest, who essentially was way up high. I think Alex Freeman is the best thing that ever happened to the national team. By the way,
Yeah, he was excellent.
this kid, he just solves so many problems. And if you're Timothy Weah or Serginho Dest, you're like, thank you, stay healthy, because that allows me to play in a far more advanced position. But it will be, I think, Serginho Dest, maybe even Timothy Weah, could be Pulisic. I mean, if you think about the way we scored against Iran in the last World Cup, something similar to that. I mean, I'm hoping that Pulisic doesn't get kicked in the balls again, and we have to worry about that. That was not cool, but it's a goal like that. That's how you have to beat a team that decides to play that defensive setup.
Interesting. So you 3-1. Have you made a pick for USA Australia yet, or is it too
2-0 United States, yes.
Wow. So that essentially puts us as the winner of the group. This is for the group pretty much, right?
Right.
I mean, I guess Turkey could beat Paraguay and then us. But we, on goal differential, we'll have it because we're up 4-1, you know?
That's what I'm anticipating. I originally said before the tournament started, we'd win 3-1, 2-0, and 1-1 against Turkey. I still think that those are pretty reasonable results, but I think that fourth goal against Paraguay I thought that fourth goal was going to be the difference. I still think the United States needs to take care of business. I said 2-0. I do think it's going to be a far tighter affair. I know we exploded out of the gates with 4, but we'll be happy with 1. 1 should do it.
Yeah. So that would, and again, I don't want to go looking too far ahead, but that would put us at the top of the group and kind of a favorable matchup. I've seen some of these simulations that say, hey, we'll play the third place team from Canada's group, which might be Canada or Bosnia.
Right.
I don't know. At what point, Eric, do you think people can kind of get excited? Maybe it's already happened. Is a cat out of the bag after the win over Paraguay?
I think it is, actually. I mean, I think there's a couple of things going on. Earlier this week, or the week before the game, the 94 guys were invited by the Federation to go to Chicago to be a part of that send-off. I got to tell you, man, that's the first time the Federation has done anything like that, to allow the old guard to kind of feel connected to this group of players, and it was fantastic. So we got to to talk to them, and not just get them on the phone or get them on our shows and interview them like everybody else, but to really interact with them. And coming out of that, I think that there was a really cool vibe. Just like it just felt so much more like a family. And when you watch what happened in the last World Cup and all the controversy and former coach, this is a very different mentality. This group has gone through a lot of adversity, and they're ready for this. I think the biggest concern may have been get in the big game with that kind of fanfare, and an unbelievable national anthem, by the way. I mean, a national anthem always gets me. It's got. I mean, I usually cry like a baby when I'm playing, and it's harder to watch these games than it is to play in them. I'll tell you that. That's for sure. But one of the things that I said to the boys was, one of some members of the media said, "Would you give these guys any advice?" And I could tell that a couple of them were listening. And I said, "The best advice that they can get is from our national anthem. The last verse is Home of the Brave. Be brave. Have courage, and the talent will come streaming through." So that's what happened. So to answer your question, I'm already there. I've seen enough. I think they can play with anybody. Australia just happens to be in the way right now. Turkey is going to be a test. We got to keep our composure because they're going to try and get under our skin. But this team is ready. This team is ready to make a really powerful run in this tournament.
So one other thing, one last US before we look at macro stuff around the cup. I'm looking at the roster. There's 2 guys over 30. You got Tim Ream at 38 and then Roldan at 31. He doesn't really play. This is a young team. Now, I don't know if they're the youngest in the field, but they certainly have to be, given that, Freeman's 21. They got a lot of young dudes. Are they almost, this is not a knock, are they almost too young to know different?
Yeah, I mean, think about it, man. There's 13 guys coming back out of the 26 from the last World Cup, right? These are guys like Gio had a miserable trip, right?
Yeah.
Scally, who had a miserable trip,
Yeah.
didn't even get on the field. Um, but if you go through the guys like Reem, who obviously is a the old guards, of that kind of leadership is necessary. Jedi's in his second trip, Christian's in his second trip, but Mulligan's, this is his first time with the guys, but Weston and Adams, Wea, they've all kind of gotten their feet wet, so to speak. Didn't have the best of tournaments, but they now know what it feels like. They know what those nerves feel like, and they know how to control adrenaline. And the adrenaline is off the hook, man. When you play in your own country in a World Cup, it takes your whole game to the next level. Now, there could be a problem here, right? If if you're not ready for it, right? Because there's two kinds of players, in my opinion. You put your hand on your heart, and you are listening to that anthem, and you're getting ready to play. You can't wait to blow the whistle and start playing. And there's other guys, maybe in the past, who were like, "Don't screw up. Just don't f up. Just whatever you do, don't make a mistake." Can't play like that. And I don't see one guy in our team who's thinking like that or playing like that. He may have had that kind of approach in the past, but all of these experiences through their club, through the last World Cup, are paying dividends. And guys like Freeman, who've just stepped into this team, and seemingly unaffected by all of it. I mean, all know who his dad is, and how that maybe factors into this, to have been around it, to been
Mhm.
around what that likes, what that feels like, big crowds and just pressure, and watching your dad go through. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, that stuff is, Timothy Weah's dad is one of the best soccer players that the world has ever seen.
That's right.
Now he's just the president of Liberia, but he was. King George, he was amazing in my day. So it's kind of an eclectic crowd, but this gang of players, man, they can not only can they play, but they have the right mentality and they have the right coach. This guy has changed everything about the way that we address the game.
That's a good point on way up, because I just looked this up. In the U.S. win over Australia, I guess 24-25. Haji Wright scored 2 goals. He
Right.
played in the last World Cup. I don't see how he gets on the field at this one. And then Tim Weah was a starter, I think, and played really
Yep. Scored
well
the first goal.
for the first goal. That's right. Yeah. And now they got to take a backseat to Balogun and a guy like Mark Tillman, who, by the way, has been tremendous.
Yeah.
This is a loaded team, man. I'm fired up. You got me excited. Let me quickly look at the big picture, Eric. Any early takeaways from the first 10, 12 games? I did note that some of the African teams, although Senegal right now is down 2-0 to France.
Yeah. No, that went quick, right? I mean, they had
Yeah,
a couple of chances, but France
yeah.
is showing
France
us
is
that
taking over.
that
But
is that's what Spain was unable to do, right? I mean, we're going to get a good
yes,
look at Argentina a little bit later in the day, and obviously Norway is maybe a dark horse that I don't know if you can call him a dark horse, but every single guy out there has like blonde hair. And maybe we call him the white horse, but it's a tournament that's kind of already shown, that certain teams maybe aren't what we thought they would be. I mean, just the name alone isn't going to get you through the tournament. Belgium really struggled yesterday. So there's a lot to it. I mean, this is what you do in a World Cup as a player. You can't wait to play, and you are consuming everything. You're watching for trends. You're watching how referees act. After the first game, I think we all thought this was going to be a card fest because there was 3 red cards in
that's
the first
right.
game.
Yeah.
But everybody took note of that. Watching the first half of France Senegal, I mean, a lot was let go. A
Mhm.
lot. I mean, that game actually had a flow to it. That if there wasn't the guy wasn't blowing the whistle every 5 seconds every time there was half a tackle or somebody got touched.
Yeah.
So players watch that and they watch for trends. They watch to see how other teams are playing, who's having a good World Cup. And at that point, you really have a real good feel for especially after playing. Once you get the first game out of the way, you've got a good feel
Mhm.
for what the tournament feels like, what the vibe is, what the rules are, and how they're addressing the rules, and how you need to address each game. And I mean, we could not have had a better start.
Yeah.
It's really going to come down to Friday and what kind of team we put out there. Might be 1 or 2 changes, maybe, but
To
I
the
think
starting lineup?
maybe just because the matchups don't really look great, especially in certain areas, and we might
Interesting.
even.
Who do you think would possibly move to the bench for a different starter?
Well, I would think that, and this sounds crazy because, but Pochettino, I wouldn't put it past him. Yeah, okay, we played in basically a 3-4-3. I could see us playing in a 3-5-2. I could see us throwing one more body up there. I really could. It's a coordination thing.
Huh.
But
But
I
doesn't
think
that
we.
what about don't mess with greatness? You win 4-1, you look
No, no,
amazing.
I think we'll start the same way. But
Oh,
if
okay.
we are able to identify a weakness, and we do think that we can handle the speed in the back, Ream's the one that's in question there. Like, can he run with these guys? His positioning needs to be immaculate. Because if he gets caught off, or he
Yeah.
gets in a running race and he doesn't have protection, that could be a bad moment. But I think if we get the first goal, Pochettino is a guy that's unafraid to go for the second. There's so many teams. We see it all the time. They score a
Yeah.
goal, they get ahead, and then they kind of fall into this conserve. Let's just get through the game and win the game 1-0. That could very well be the case, but Pochettino is a different cat, man. He wants to go for it. He wants to
Mhm.
actually let these guys fly. And if you get in a moment where you look up and you realize, man, if we put two forwards up there, that is going to be way too problematic for them. He might do it, and
Mm.
that that kind of move would be, uh, Serginho Dest, Timothy Weah, maybe just being a flat out winger that's going to get behind people and could cause some problems. And I do think that Pepe, or even Haji Wright, could get into this game.
Oh,
He had a great trip last time, 2 goals against Australia, so he's got those good memories to go along with the
yeah.
good form of the rest of the group.
One thing I hadn't anticipated, we can wrap up on this, is the hydration breaks. So for instance, and I don't have
And
any
where were those
data yet.
hydration breaks in '94, man? I
Yeah.
really could have used that when it was 118 degrees
I mean,
in Pasadena. That would have been
crazy.
great.
Well,
But it's
the thing I didn't anticipate, Eric, I don't know if you noticed, but it can be a major stopper of momentum
yeah,
and like literally a game changer. Because this France Senegal game, it was nip and tuck. France was starting to
yeah,
turn things around. The hydration break comes, and out of it, it's like boom, boom, goal, goal within the
right.
next like 15 minutes. And I'm like, oh man. So that's something I don't think we've seen before. So I don't know like what conclusions you can draw, but it definitely can be a momentum killer, can it not?
A momentum killer, and also very, very seldom is it a coaching opportunity. We actually saw it against Australia. He didn't talk to anybody else. He just talked to the two forwards. He said, look, we're going to go for it. We're going to go over the top. And they got a goal. They got a goal out of it
Oh,
immediately. So, having that luxury of being able to really talk to your guys about what you see from the sidelines, and maybe give them some instruction that can make their day a little easier. We saw that with Australia. But the momentum thing is real. It's hard, man. It's like it happens a lot in basketball, I think. I mean, basketball,
yes.
it's the number one thing that you have that luxury. Oh man, that's it. They're killing us right now. Let's catch our breath. Everybody sit down. You don't get that in soccer usually, and you don't get a standing 8 count either. You get punched in the face, he's coming right back for more. I think that's the other part about our team. Um, Good plan, good coach. Really, everybody's in really good form at the moment. But we do have a ruthless nature to us that is really likable. I mean, I really like that. I mean, there was guys screaming to keep it. They didn't want to go for the fourth goal, but there was a why not moment there. If you watch Gio Reyna trying to make his way up the field, he gets into a shouting match, almost a pushing match, with one of the Paraguayan players,
Saw
Tyler
that.
Adams, who was on a yellow, which was ill-advised, gets in the middle of that. And I don't know. I think that it just pissed Gio off and said, I'm going to go for it. I don't care. Push the numbers into a spot. Even they were unexpecting of that. They're looking at the clock saying there's seconds left. There's no way. Wait a second. This guy's coming at us. Is this guy for real? And then obviously we know the rest. But I like that ruthlessness about us. I really do. I think that they stick together. They're a good group. They're obviously talented, but if everybody's hitting on all cylinders again, and there's a moment where it will happen against Australia. Let me just enlighten everybody here. Someone's going to hit somebody. Someone's going to say something to somebody, and it can't be Tyler. Tyler can't do it. So maybe Weston would be the guy to step in there. But the fact that they know that already
Mm,
without even having to talk to each other about it makes them a really good team.
mm.
But I think something's going to happen. Somebody's going to mouth off, and then this probably maybe right around that water break, around the 23rd minute, or just after it, this game will click into high gear, and then that's when we show our
Mm.
ruthless nature and just take them out.
Awesome stuff. Eric Wynalda, U.S. national team veteran. I mean, impressive career. He's got a podcast now. I mean, Eric, he's everywhere, man. Thanks a lot for taking the time, Eric.
Always anything for you, buddy.
All right.